We've talked about the story of Adam and Eve, but what about our story? A couple of things that Christians have affirmed. We inherit a sin nature from Adam. Ephesians chapter 2 talks about that, verses 1 to 5. Paul says to the believers there in Ephesus, "And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, like the rest of mankind. But God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ, and by grace you have been saved." So Paul here uses the word nature. He describes our life. We're dead in our trespasses and sins, dead to God, spiritually dead. We're following in the course of this world, so we're just flowing with the current. We're following the prince of the power of the air. That has to do with spiritual forces at work in the culture and in our lives, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience. We're following the passions of our flesh, the desires of our body, the desires of our mind. And all of this is a part of our nature. And so we talk in Christian theology about the sin nature, that we have a natural inner impulse to walk independently of God, to, yes, try to meet legitimate needs, but we do it through illegitimate means, and we break God's law and we offend God. So our basic nature, our basic disposition and constitution is to sin, to offend God, and to break his laws. And an apple tree can't help but produce apples. It's nature. It's genetically determined to be an apple tree. And in the same way, we are by nature sinners. We are not called sinners in the Bible because we sin. We sin because we are sinners. So we have this nature, we have this corruption within our nature. And it is that which gives rise to the universal experience of sinning. So sin is both nature and behavior. We have to distinguish between the two. So let's again use the image of the apple tree. The apple tree has apples on it. That's the fruit of the apple tree. Let those apples represent our behavior. But those apples are only on the apple tree. Let's say it this way. The apples represent sins, our sins. But those apples are only on the apple tree because in the seed of the apple tree, it is genetically inclined to be an apple tree, right? So you have the root and you have the fruit. The root is that tree is by nature an apple tree, and therefore it produces the fruit of apples. In the same way, in our root Our nature is sinners, and therefore we produce the fruit of sin. Romans 5:18 tells us that by Adam's sin, we are all made sinners. Therefore, as one trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one act of righteousness leads to justification and life for all men.